Welcome back to Iron Suits, where strength wears the crown. This is your host, Marwan Killu. I'm joined by my friend, Phiroze Divecha, who's a
Relationship and dating coach for men.
and dating coach. Okay. We're gonna talk some stuff about relationships and dating. All right, brother. Shall we get straight into it?
Let's do it, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Great to have you on, man. Phiroze was one of the coaches, in a previous mastermind I was in. And so we sort of like connected after a few years of wilderness. And we're going to give you we're going to aim to give you a killer podcast. All right, let's get into it, brother.
Let's do it.
So most of the men listening to this are killers in business. They run teams, they make money, they solve problems. But when it comes to their marriage, their relationships, their body, they're operating at 50% of the man they think they are. So, I want to start right here. Why do you think that so many high performing married men just lose their edge at home? And what do you see as the real motive behind why men train, diet, and try to better themselves? Is it for their wife? Is it for validation? Or because deep down they don't feel like the man they represent in the world?
Yeah. That's a fantastic question. Honestly, the language that you need to use to be successful in business is not the same language or skill set that you need to be successful in romantic relationships. And so it's funny because some of my clients are the same way. They're extremely high achievers. They're crushing it. And they honed that skill set, the way of being that you need to be successful in business. Now, I'm just going to be brutally honest, but you don't need emotion in business, right? And I think people are starting to come around to the fact now that their emotional intelligence, from here down, is actually useful in business because it's just more data. Emotions are just more data that we can use to make decisions. And it's not that you need to be overly emotional, but if you think about a spectrum of logic to emotion, the guys that you're talking about are way further on this side of logic, which helps them crush it in business, hit the numbers, dominate boardrooms, but it's not the same skill set that's going to help them connect with their wife, who's probably more on the emotional side. And I'm not saying that in a negative connotation, just in the fact that generally men are less emotional and women prefer to speak more in the terms of emotion. So I see that as not having the emotional skill set. I don't want to call it intelligence because it's something that can be developed, but it's learning how to be embodied. It's learning how to be in tune with your woman and kind of go from this side of the spectrum when you're at work and learn to shift into a different version of yourself when you're at home. You don't have to go into problem solving mode. You don't have to go into fixing mode. You can just be present with her. And you'd be surprised how fucking good that feels for us as well, to be able to turn off that part of ourselves and just be present with a beautiful woman. It's nourishing. It's healing for us as well. Did that answer your question? You want to go deeper on that?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I have a follow-up question. Yeah, because to become a CEO, to become an executive or a business owner, you have to sort of separate emotions from everything else. And it's almost like, okay, I'm tired, but I'm going to do this anyway. It's a similar kind of thing in fitness where I'm going to do this, but like I said, it's not the same skill set. So could you possibly expand on what you mean by not showing emotions? How is there a difference between emotion and showing emotion? Or is it like a sort of part of it ego because somebody is saying if I show emotions, then I become weak? All right. Or is it just that brain of ours that, when you become a high achieving man, then is just that you've conditioned to not how should I say, you condition yourself to not listen to your emotions, right?
It's very nuanced in my perspective. It's not one or the other because you need to be successful in business. You absolutely need to be able to act despite your emotions.
Uh-huh.
And but there's a paradox to that, which is you need to, like you said, I don't want to do this thing. I feel tired. I feel whatever. I don't think we need to go into this because I think this is pretty reasonable thing. Like you need to be able to push through that and do the thing anyway. And
Yeah.
if you're successful in business, you get that piece of it. We don't need to, hammer that nail in. It's already there. The nuance to that though is that to be an exceptional leader or to be an exceptional lover, you do need to be able to tap into your emotions. You need to be able to understand what's going on and connect with people in that way. So extremely, extremely, extremely powerful leaders, they're able to flip that switch and go from one extreme to the other. And what I notice is sometimes, this is not all the time, but sometimes very successful men get trapped in that one way, and then they don't know how to switch to tapping into the emotion or the embodiment. And, just a great example of this, I'll give you a technique if I can share, a couple steps with you. So,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
one of the things that I do with my clients is they tend to be here up, right? They tend to think and they're like, oh, I'm angry. I'm like, okay, where do you feel angry? And oh, I don't feel angry. It's here. I'm angry. And emotions are always in the body. So if someone says, oh my, I have a heartache, that's actually in that area. Or if someone says, man, it feels like I just got punched in the gut, it's, there's actual embodiment in that place. So step
Uh-huh.
one is if you feel triggered in any way, that's fantastic. Anytime you feel uncomfortable, anytime you feel triggered, we just want to be aware of, okay, I am actually triggered right now. So it could just be I'm overwhelmed. Step number
Uh-huh.
one, recognize you're overwhelmed. Step number two is where do you actually feel that in your body? And if you haven't done this, this might be very, very, very difficult because we're so used to not being attached to our body. So overwhelm might be, oh, I actually feel in my chest. I feel like this like compression. And we just want to
Yeah.
notice that,
Yeah.
okay, I feel, that step number two is where do you feel it? So I feel it in my chest. Step number three is I use this analogy of the prisoner in the basement, because what this means is we've taken this feeling, whatever it is, overwhelmed, anxious, scared, fearful. We've taken that emotion, we've taken it down into the basement, and we've put it in a jail cell. We've locked the jail cell. We've put a bunch of pads on top of it. We put a bunch of blankets on top of it. And then we come upstairs and we're like, perfect. There's no more fear. I can't hear that motherfucker down there. And the truth is, guess what? It's still a part of you. It's still in there. So it's going to manifest in different ways. It's going to come out.
Suppress it, right?
Yeah, you're suppressing it and it's going to come out. So it's going to come out
Yeah,
in
yeah,
alcohol. It's going to come out in porn. It's going to come out with, sleeping with women, gambling. However, it's going to come out in a
yeah.
non-productive way. And so instead of pretending like it's not there, we go down to the basement, we let out that emotion, and then we just allow it to be there. We don't need to fix it. We don't need to change it. We don't need it to make it go away. We just need to allow it to be there. And the more that you can be there with those really uncomfortable emotions, that is how you can start to create a better emotional connection with yourself. And then when you have that information, yes, it's actually going to make you better in business because you're going to be more in tune with other people, but it's also going to make your home life better with your woman, with your partner. You're going to be able to connect on that level and just it doesn't have to be mushy. That's the thing. I think a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm in touch with my feelings. Fuck all that. What all that being in touch with your feelings or emotions means is you have more information that you can make a powerful decision with. Instead of
Uh-huh.
making a decision with 50% of the information, you have 100% of the information and you can make better decisions. You can make better connections that way.
I love that. I love that technique. Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned that if you suppress your emotion, it's going to come out, because what people don't get is like we have two brains. We got the subconscious and the conscious brain. And you got like, is it 95% subconscious or 96%?
Yep.
One of the two.
Yep. It's
And
up
if
there.
one of them is like thinking something different, right? And like, there's no way like their conscious brain is going to be able to pull, because you got like a force of 95 or 94 against 4 or 5. And
Yep.
so most people think, okay, fitness is a similar thing. Like people gain weight. Okay, why do they gain weight? They eat a lot. But why do they eat a lot? even if you know that you shouldn't, there's something deep down
Hmm.
that you're not aware of, right? And it sort of it causes, I should, I want to say self sabotage. Would you say that's the right word?
Yeah, I think it's self sabotage, or it's patterns, right? So there you
Yeah.
might be, let's think the example you were talking about. With a lot of people that are obese, it's not about discipline. It's some deeper emotional issue. It's some, and
Hmm.
it's something they haven't resolved from their past, and they feel uncomfortable. And when they feel uncomfortable, they turn to food. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not just this. Yes, discipline is very important. It's absolutely important. But you would know better than I know this. I don't know what the statistic is, but something like blank amount of people, they lose the weight and they gain it back in 2
Yeah.
years,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially after they get weight loss surgeries, because they haven't changed what's going on inside. They
The
haven't dealt with
habits.
the
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
on the inside.
I
So
haven't dealt with the habits and the shit that you said. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the factors that you mentioned, we eat out of like stress. Is something they call it. What was the technical term that I heard a psychologist say? Gosh, I want to say hungry, angry, hunger, anger, stress, and boredom. I can't remember the technical term for it, but there was somebody,
Yeah.
a psychologist. I can't remember the tech. Do you know what you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I don't know the technical term, but I know it's emotional eating, right? It's
Yeah,
emotional
yeah,
eating at its core. There, you're not hungry. You're not actually satiating
mm,
a food based, a nutrition based need. It's an emotional need that you're
yeah,
fulfilling through food.
yeah, 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 yeah. So a lot of the times it could be conditioning when we were young, right? And
Yep.
so whenever you did something, then your parents would like give you food because you were crying or because you were like I don't know, if you're sad, like they'll say, "Oh, okay, come, let's go and have an ice cream or something." And
Yep.
so,
Exactly.
how like it wasn't done deliberately. It was like done by out of goodwill. Somebody will tell you you're going to have an ice cream, and then like you have an ice cream, and then
You
it's
feel
like
better.
that goes into you feel better, and so it's like a pattern, right? Develops inside the brain, and so you
Uh-huh.
do it every single time, and it becomes a conditioning. It becomes a habit. Yeah,
Yeah.
hungry,
You
angry.
nailed it.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows what you're talking about. I think like it's it's emotional eating. But I'm 100% on with you. We get these coping mechanisms that get installed into us as
Mm,
children, and then we don't realize, and then it's about pattern recognition. This is what I do with the people that I work with, is just getting to understand themselves better, because it's fascinating. Our brains are computers. We're programmed whether we know it or not. And if you can
yeah.
take control of the master program, and you can understand, how do you understand this piece of technology I've been gifted from God or the universe or nature, whatever you want to say
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
is just understanding the language of the mind and the body as well.
Yeah. As you say, we move in patterns. And so
Hmm.
you like it's what do they call it? And I think Tony Robbins refers to it as engram or something like that. And so you have a pattern for everything. And actually, it's a funny one for you. For all you guys who are dog owners, um, your dog is the best person at recognizing your pattern. They are so smart, it's beyond belief. Like if you think that you're doing something, like they'll pick up on any little variable. You got. Do you have a dog?
I I actually do. I just got a dog about 2 months ago, so it's funny that you're
Ah,
saying
okay.
this. We had a stray dog that was living outside, and we were feeding him for a few months, and now he's officially inside. He's my dog now, so I totally get what
Nice.
you're saying. Like, he can just pick up on little things. He can pick up on the body
Yeah,
language. We don't even speak the same language, but we do, because so much of our communication is nonverbal. It's body
yeah,
language. So yeah, I
yeah,
100% agree that that they pick
yeah.
up on
It's
that stuff.
like when you walk, the best way to find it is when you walk him and try and train him. So if you take, I'll give you a personal example with my dog. So I've got a boxer. He's a big 50 pound I'm a I want to call him bodybuilder, right? Built like a bodybuilder. So you walk around and then like he pulls ahead of me. So I stop and then I'll get him to come back. And so he notices like when there's a dog, right? He recognizes that when the dog is there,
Hmm.
then he'll come back quicker and then he'll go and move quicker, right? He'll go and follow the other dog. When there isn't a dog around, he'll just take his time.
Hmm.
And so he picks up on that pattern. He's like, okay, I'm going to trick him now. And the same thing with when you try and give him treats, when you try and train them with treats, they'll know when you're about to give them treat. They'll know how long it takes you to reach for the treats.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're
It's crazy. Yeah.
extremely intuitive
Yeah.
creatures. And that's something that I try to, again, embody with myself, because I was a engineer in a past life. I studied mechanical engineering. So I was completely from here up, just dominated, overthinking, not, being in the moment, not being in my body. And it just, it's only half the information. You're not getting the full picture. You're not tapping into this free information that's flowing through your body that helps
Yeah.
you in business, that helps you with women, that helps you with other people, that helps you get more clients. It's just, I could talk about this stuff for hours, because I think there's so much intelligence in the body that we don't give it the credit, because we think the mind is so, powerful, but they're so deeply connected. So
Our
that's,
brains are phenomenal, aren't they?
mm-hmm, they really
Yeah.
are.
They're literally like a supercomputer, but nobody gave us a manual for
I know.
operating our
Unfortunately,
brains, operating that computer.
yeah, no one gave us the language for how to code this computer, unfortunately. But that's kind of the fun part, is
Yeah,
we have to figure out how to use it.
true, true. I want to ask you, how does maintaining physical fitness for a man and losing body fat influence their confidence and their overall satisfaction in the relationship?
Yeah, I,
So a
I
lot
think
of
it's
guys,
pretty.
go on, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious, but I'll still talk to it. Your physical health dictates so much of what's going on. And we talked about this earlier, but like, if you don't feel good inside, you're
Uh-huh.
probably going to eat like shit to cover it up. So people that are massively overweight, it's hard to, and there's no judgment in this. There's no shame that I'm trying to put on this, but there's probably some issues that are going on. So when you take care of yourself, when you eat properly, when you sleep properly, when you maintain a certain body fat, it trickles into every part of your being. It trickles into your energy. And I want to talk about this because I think this is a little bit different than the obvious stuff, where of course you get
Hmm.
bigger muscles. Women like bigger
Yeah,
muscles. You're going to feel more confident. That, again, that's obvious. I think the
yeah,
other part of this that's not as obvious is the energy component, because when you work out, you don't actually get, I don't get energy from resting. I get energy from doing things. So it's when
yeah,
you go to the gym, you feel better after the fact. And then when I feel energetically better, I feel more open to just having conversations with people, just putting myself out there with men, with women, just being more social in general. And then I get better results with women because of that, because I'm just being able to put myself out there. So I think there's the obvious aspect where we could go of like, hey, your muscles are bigger, your confidence gets better. Like, fuck yeah. I mean, that you feel so good when you look in the mirror, and when you take your shirt off and you look good in the mirror. I'm working on getting in better shape, and I'm 34 now, and I feel like I'm in better shape than I have been in my 20s. And honestly, when I take my shirt off in the mirror, I'm like, I've worked for this. I feel fucking good. I feel good in the way that
yeah,
I'm carrying myself, and that translates to how you interact with other people, just feeling good in your own body. And then you can transfer that to other people. You can give that to other people. People pick up on it, just like the dog example, right? It's not just what you're saying. If you feel good and you're transferring that to other people, it has a massive effect on all areas of your life. So I would say probably the most important thing a man can do is take care of the physical vessel, take care of what you got here, because it translates into every other aspect of your life. If the sick man wants one thing, right? Or The
Yeah.
saying goes,
Yeah.
the healthy man wants 10,000 things, the sick man wants one thing.
One
So
thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is your vessel that you're going through. So yes, I think it's the staple before you do anything.
It reminds me of something that Steve Jobs said. He said you can pay someone to drive the car, you can pay someone to clean your car and do everything, but you can't pay them to do one thing, and that's to bear the illness for you.
Yeah.
Said
It's
you're in on the operating table, and you realize there's one book you haven't read, and
mhm.
that's the book of life.
It's yeah, you're nothing without your health. So
Yeah,
I think it's so important. You were asking me how does it affect confidence with women? I think it's everything. It carries into every other aspect of your life.
yeah, for sure. Because you're whatever you put in, it was whatever you put out. Like you mentioned about energy, you're at 12 p.m. You've already had your third coffee, and you're going into the board meeting, and you're like drowsy. You know, you can barely open your eyes. You need another coffee just to pick you up. You're breathing heavily between sentences. Your silence between sentences is like that deep breath.
And the other thing about, very high achieving men, and I hate to be this brutally honest, but I think it's needs to be said, is if you go into a boardroom with someone and you see that they're in shape and they're physically fit, there's a certain level of respect, whether you want to admit it or not, that that person has worked for that. You can't buy
Uh-huh.
that. Like you said, you can buy the car, you can buy the cleaner, you can buy the other things. You can't buy physical fitness. So when someone's in shape, when they're taking care of themselves, there's a certain level, at least for myself, I realized, oh, this person has discipline. This person is
Yeah.
disciplined in personal life. And it's just an immediate trust factor.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because you can have the tailored suit, you can have the Swiss watch. And but the difference is between you can have the car between you and the person next to you. If everything was equal, but the person next to you has got in better shape, like what's the difference? That person is going to have more confidence because he's in shape. And like you said, like when you working out, it's not just for the muscles. Yeah, the confidence is part of it as well, but also the energy you're going to get because you realize that when you do, it's true. In a way, how we do one thing is how we do everything, but like not always, but in that sense, it is because how like you push harder in the gym, you're going to be able to push harder at work. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be sleeping better. When you sleep better, you're going to be able to give more fucks because you're not as stressed, right? You're going to recover and you're going to eat better. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, a pizza would taste better than like a chicken breast for sure. Nobody denies that, even if someone who works out. It doesn't mean don't have a pizza or never have a pizza, but it just means that you got to pick and choose when to have that food. And when you eat good, you realize that the food kind of either energizes you or it doesn't. Right. So, like, you don't know what you don't know in terms of that, because, like, when you go into the gym, you're definitely going to eat better because you'll be able to perform better. It's like driving your Ferrari and putting in like a, um, a normal fuel, right? That's not meant to be for that car. It doesn't go as well, right? The
Absolutely.
engine
Yeah.
the engine doesn't work.
You gotta fuel correctly to have to burn the right fuel as well.
Yeah, for sure. How does the body composition, a man's body composition, impact the relationship in the long term marriage? Right? How does how once the attraction is like rekindled, does it like does it involve discipline in other area and on every other area?
I'm I am not married, Marwan, so I don't know if I can speak to that personally, but I do think that in terms of body composition, I think in a long-term marriage or just a long-term relationship, it's more about the discipline of taking care of yourself than like, oh my God, that he has this perfect bicep, right? It's not, I think we can't downplay the fact that physical attractiveness is important in a long-term relationship. It's more about the habits that you're building. It's the discipline. It's the fact that you're willing to take care of yourself. And I've always been of the mindset that like, I will take care of myself for you and you should take care of yourself for me. And of course there's going to be overlap, but I also think that women just respect a man that prioritizes his health because she realizes that like he's taking care of himself for the family and for her.
Yeah.
So, and a byproduct of that is, yes, your muscles are going to be bigger and you're going to look better, and your wife is probably going to want to have sex with you more, and you're going to have that intimacy, but in a more well-rounded perspective. From my perspective, being a man that's never been married, take this with a grain of salt. I think that it's more valuable to have the habits and the discipline and the character of the person that works out versus just having, a big bicep.
For sure, yeah, because she might not say it, but she will notice it.
Absolutely.
And I've been on that side. I've been married for 20 something years. And even when I'm in a, like, I never let myself go as such, right?
Hmm.
But when I'm in the bulking phase, then I do put on weight, obviously, because you have to. So my wife is just like, okay, you put on a little bit of weight here, you put on a little bit of weight there. And so that little bit of thing just makes a man sort of, you know, have second thoughts. Your wife might not be different. It might be different. She might not say anything, but I guarantee you that she's going to feel it.
Sure.
Sansa, maybe it's like she's looking at other guys on Instagram, wishing that you are like them, right? Maybe she wishes that you are the kind of that guy who she married and she was attracted to in, I don't know, their 20s or something,
Sure.
right?
I'll take your word for it, Marwan. Like I said, you got more experience in the marriage realm, so I'm not going to be able to chime in on that. But I totally understand what you're saying.
From your experience, what's the root cause of a man losing polarity, presence, or leadership in a relationship? Why do you think that?
I'm not sure that there's a root cause for that. That's a pretty deep question. Can you say that again? Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, from your experience, what's the root cause of a man losing polarity, presence, or leadership in a relationship? Or
I can
what do you
speak to
think?
the
What do you
polarity
think
piece. I think,
the cause? Yeah,
yeah, I think that complacency, and I don't think this is a relationship. I think this is just a human tendency. So I'll speak to that, and then I'll speak to men. But we just tend to get comfortable in certain
uh-huh.
situations, and then whenever there's that comfort, you the comfort and tension are on opposite sides of the spectrum, right? So if I say, hey, this is tension and this is comfort, I wouldn't equate them as the two. And so what really powerful and successful men are able to do and do continuously is they're able to step into tension continuously and make that their comfort zone. So in a relationship, it's not treating the other person, doing the little things, still buying them flowers or still surprising them or still, teasing them or slapping their ass when you walk by. It's just little things where it's like, unexpected, you can create that tension and that polarity and step into it versus just getting caught in the mundane and getting caught up in, which is very easy to do. It's, you've lived with the person for a few years, half a
Yeah,
decade. It's very easy to just not do that. But the beautiful part is, as a man, we get to step into that role of leadership and we get to create that. And when we do create that, the woman usually feels, one, she feels seen and it makes her feel amazing. But then two is they're so nourishing and they're willing to give so much back to you with such a small return, right? It's like we put in 5% and then they're so willing to go above and beyond. So I don't know what the root cause is. I would say time is probably the root cause, because if you eat the same food for the every single day for a year, you're
yeah,
it's naturally going to lose its, even if it's your most favorite food, it's going to lose its potency. So it's on us as men to bring some spontaneity into it. And maybe that's a conversation that you have with your, your wife or your partner as well. It's not only on us, but we have to be conscious. And again, I think the root cause is probably time, because familiarity tends to lend away from tension and towards comfort.
Hmm. I have to take some of these tips
Yeah,
and
man. Come
use them
on.
with
Marriage
my wife.
counseling, you pay me for whatever this is.
We've been going 30 odd minutes. We'll have to use some of these tips. All
Yeah.
right.
What do you think? I mean, what do you see as the root cause of men losing
I,
clarity or
I, I
vision?
think, I think, like you said, it's comfort, it's familiarity. So you get used to doing things and you forget that that person is another person next to you, right? You've been with that person for, take me for example, 20 years. You've been with that person for 20 years. You're with them, let's just say 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day. Okay, 8 hours a day. You do everything together, and so you tend to tolerate each other, right? And so then you sort of, okay, it's a small little thing. Is this doesn't do this? It's okay, right? And so one thing just sort of leads to another, and like you said, you become comfortable, and almost like almost to the point of like anything kind of goes. You know what I mean? You still lose track of the person that you were. You lose track of your standards as a person. Something which you wouldn't do in front of people that you don't know.
Hmm. I
But
think,
again,
uh,
I'm by no means an expert. So,
sure, sure. I think for this specifically, a very potent antidote is teasing and playfulness. We
uh
all, like, as human beings, we all want that energy. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't, if you go into a nursing home and you see 80-year-olds, they're almost more playful than, 30 to 70, because they realize how precious life is. And they're
yeah,
just, so I think just bringing that back into a relationship, teasing and playing, everybody wants that, not just in romantic relationships. If you look at friendships, if you look at two guys when they hang out, we're always busting each other's balls. We're always playing around. We're joking around. We're pushing each other around. And if you can bring that same teasing, playful, it's different, because there's teasing and playful wrapped in love when it's with a romantic partner, but just that energy. The people that I look up to that have the most successful marriages and relationships, they've never let go of that aspect. And then
yeah.
you can turn teasing into tension. You can turn teasing into sexual tension. You can turn teasing into polarity, and play with that tool. But I think it's such a powerful tool that, again, when guys go crazy into the logic mode and into the execution and to the, all the things that make you super successful in business, we can tend to lose a little bit of that playful side of us. So that sprinkled in the yin and yang of power and getting things done, but also being playful and having fun, is very potent.
You mean they're more serious, right? They become more serious, and therefore
Yeah.
they're more
Yeah, we
serious at home.
get a little bit of a rod up our ass, and we forget that we can laugh at ourselves and just have fun, and do both. And it doesn't mean one or the other. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Richard Branson. He's successful as fuck, and he has fun all the time. He's playful. He's got a youthful, fun energy, and he's a multi billionaire. So it doesn't have to
Or
just be
he,
this one way.
or Hugh Hefner.
Or Hugh Hefner. Yeah, he's a pretty playful guy himself.
The guy was a stud. Well, the guy was a stud, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was doing all right. I don't think he was hurting.
Yeah, he was doing cool. Do you think men can fake confidence without their body, without having a good body? Like, does that, or does that try? We spoke about it earlier, but like, do you think they can fake
I
confidence
do.
per se,
I
or not?
I don't even know if I would say fake confidence, because I know some bigger guys that that can fake confidence. So yes, I do think that you can fake it,
Uh-huh.
but to what point, right? Because again, the same way that we were talking about earlier about we lock those emotions up in the basement and you put a pillow over them and you can pretend that you don't hear it, but you know what's going on inside you. So can you fool other people and pretend that you're confident? Yeah. You might be able to get away with it. But then what I think is more important is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And I don't think that you can, again, you can put a lot of masks on top of it, but at the end of the day, it's inside us. It's
Yeah.
there. You can't fake that relationship. It has to be genuine.
Can women pick up on it and potential business partners pick up on that fake confidence? I mean, like a man to a man, you can pick it up. Like, you know, a guy whose hand, you can tell from the handshake, from the way they're walking. If you know anything about relationship, you can tell. So people can fake all they like, or they're kind of talking, but you can tell a person when they're walking in, like within 5 seconds, maybe even less, right? You can tell
I
from
think
their handshake.
we're built, we're just built to recognize phoniness or fakeness. So yes, I think women are exceptionally good at picking this up,
Mhm.
again, because it's an emotional thing. It's not a logical thing. And women are generally just have higher emotional intelligence. So yeah, women can pick up on it extremely quickly. And then I think people can just pick up on it. We're just good at bullshit detecting. It's kind of hardwired into us. So again,
Yeah.
some guys can fake it. You can get away with it, but I don't think it's worth it. It's like, it's worth it to do the work to build a good relationship with ourselves on a physical standpoint and a spiritual standpoint and an emotional standpoint. It's worth that hard work. Just like going to the gym. Is it difficult at times? Do you not feel like it at times? Fuck yeah, it can get difficult, but it's worth the effort. So that's just my perspective. I think
Yeah,
on
you
all
feel
fronts,
better. You feel better,
yeah,
especially going to the gym. You feel better afterwards. And also,
I always feel better going to the gym.
yeah, like you said, your
I
subconscious. Go
Go
on, you
ahead.
go.
Yeah,
No, no,
my
you go.
back was just hurting like 2 weeks ago, and my back was out, and for me, I couldn't go to the gym for 2 weeks, and it just had such a big impact on my mental health, and then how
Yeah,
productive I was at work. And I was still going for walks, but just doing a really difficult exercise for myself. It I don't like, yes, it helps me build muscle. I look good, but for the mental aspect of just, I mean, again, I think this is so obvious. This is very obvious stuff. Like it
yeah,
has very, very powerful mental effects on
yeah,
stress, on your cognitive ability, on how fast you can think, on your decision making.
yeah.
There's no better medicine. There's no antidepressant. There's no drug. If if I could prescribe every single person on the planet one drug, it would be to go exercise every single day.
For sure, yeah, because emotion is created by motion. And not only that, you get it's bilateral stimulation because you're having to use both sides of your brain. And this is why when you exercise, especially in the gym, you get to think a lot more and you think a lot better
Hmm.
than you do when you're sitting down behind the desk or even going out for a walk. I like you. I've got a dog and I've got two dogs. So I go out and walk my dogs, and often the best ideas come when I'm walking my dogs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Motion is we're designed to be in motion. We're not designed to be stuck behind a desk doing a podcast all day. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to
yeah.
be hitting the gym.
Go and hit the gym. That's it, man. One final question for you. How does travel, late dinners, stress, and scaling a business affect the dating dynamics in relationship? And how should men mitigate this?
Yeah, I think that being social is an extremely important thing, specifically in today's age. So not just leaving dating for Friday and Saturday night, and
Uh-huh.
not just leaving it as, okay, I'm gonna go on Hinge or I'm gonna go on a dating app once a week and find a girl. It's making being social part of your life. So when you go out in your everyday and you go grocery shopping, talking to people, interacting with your world, striking up a conversation with anybody, with a little kid, with an old woman, with a beautiful woman, it just participating in life versus just waiting till the weekend to go hit on some girls at the bar. I have not seen that be a winning strategy. The times in my life where I've seen the most growth for myself and for my clients is when we can start to fall in love with meeting people and just really genuinely connecting with people. And then that goes into work, and then that goes into travel, and then that goes into scaling your business. That just goes into everything. So what I really deeply preach is it shouldn't just be a skill set, because it is a skill set, but it should be a lifestyle. And the more that you can just do that continuously, the better time you're gonna have in everything.
That's true. Why wait until the weekend? Do it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Date nights don't have to be on the weekend. Are you still there? Your video's gone a bit blurry. Okay. Are you still there? Stop. You still there, Phiroze? Looks like his video is gone. Okay. Let's wait, see if we can get him back on. Nope. Showing his name, but he's not there. Can't see him on video, and I can't hear him either. Reconnecting. I think maybe the rain is affecting them over there in Texas. I was speaking earlier. I was at a mastermind a couple of years back, and they had rain one night, and then the hotel I was staying at the electricity went out. Okay, looks like he's gone. Okay, I'll carry on. I'll carry on talking the story, and then we'll leave it there. So the electricity went out, and then the lifts obviously then wouldn't work, and there's this guy, poor guy, with I don't know how many pieces of luggage that he had. He had to go up to the 14th floor, and the length of the stairs from one to the other was so high that literally I had to bend my not bend, like my shins were so far forward, almost like I was doing a Bulgarian sort of split squat. I don't know how he managed to take all his luggage up there, but I felt sorry for the guy. All right, so it looks like we can't get Phiroze back, but I hope this podcast was helpful for you. And if it was, make sure you share it with another leader, because that's how we spread the message. And subscribe to the show so you get more epic episodes. As I keep saying, as iron sharpeneth iron, so one man sharpeneth another. All right, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Take care now.